live from Huntertown, Indiana. It's Soarin Hawk on the air. So, welcome back. It's a nice rainy day. Well, I heard a couple of our the peanut gallery. Okay, again. Yeah. So, anyways, so before I get started, okay, little thing here. I guess a lot of you guys have seen the article in the paper about the birds getting sick and about taking down your bird feeders. So what's happening is that there's a lot of fungus going around because of all the damp, warm air, and so if you're not cleaning your feeders, you need to. So get out there, clean your feeders up, but continue feeding the birds because they got a lot of babies right now. I have all kinds of little critters coming to my yard. In fact, they're eating me out of house and home. I'm going to have to stop by and get some more seed here at Wild Birds and at Menards and stuff. So, anyways, take those feeders. Use a 1 to 10 solution of bleach.
Here.
Okay, I'm back. Boy, I turned into a keyboard for a moment. Okay, so
what? 1 to 10 solution, you said?
1 to 10 solution of bleach and water. Clean those feeders up a little bit, get rid of that mold and stuff. But do continue feeding your birds. So, okay, so back to a new topic or same topic as last week.
Yeah.
Yay!
Bats.
So, come on, 1 minute. I knew this is the favorite part. I usually dance during this part.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
I could turn the camera around. I don't get to see a dance.
So as you know, I'm going bats, okay? And I take care of it. But every so often, the mayor puts up the light, and I have to go out and go rescue a bat. So we're going to talk about bat rescue, and there I am dashing for my Batmobile. Unfortunately, I can't get insurance, so I can't drive the thing. So we rescue the bats, and so what do? We have a uniform protocol, just like we do for taking care of the birds. So rehydration is a major part of taking care of the bats. Rabies vaccination is another part. The parasite eradication. So we, give it a little bit of something. I'll go through all these different things. Weight verification. So just about the same way you would take care of a person or an animal or whatever. And we feed them appropriate food. We inspect for injuries. And then we treat the injuries, etc. And then finally, we take them out. We put them in isolation until we can verify that they're good. And then after an isolation period, we colonize them so that they don't get lonely. And then we flight test them. And of course, the biggest thing after that is that we release them at a safe location. And one of the things I found out that bats have sight fidelity. So I can just let them go in my backyard and they go home.
Wow.
So any of those bats that I collect from somebody's house, they go right back. It might take them a day, but they'll be back there. A lot of them get home overnight. So, a lot of times people call me the next day and they'll say, oh, the bat's back on the porch. Thank you. So the first thing we do when we get the bats in is we weigh them. And we have a record card that we take care of. Then we give them, we rehydrate them with about a half a cc of lactated ringers and any kind of medication also that we think we need, we put into that injection. And we just... they have loose fur on their back, so we just lift that a little bit and just sub-Q them, and it's real easy. They don't even notice it, okay? So you can see how tame this one is. Her name is Lynn. This is back in 2005. And rehydration is subcutaneous injection of about half a cc of ringers. And so just like I said, you can also give them Gatorade. I use lemon flavored, but I don't know if it makes a difference or not, but they have a sweet tooth. So that's one of the things. So typically, I give them the ringers. Sometimes I give them the Gatorade first, and then I give them the ringers. And then, or you can give them water, and sometimes we do it with food. And then in their cages, we use a petri dish with a clean sponge in there, and that helps to hydrate the air as well as hydrate the bird or the bat. Bats, birds, it all starts with B. And then we tickle them. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, those choppers.
Those are choppers. Okay. So this is Courtney. She came from the Jefferson Food Court, and so we brought her home. And you notice she's got about maybe 32 teeth in there,
Yeah.
and 28 of them are sharp. Okay. And so one of the things is you don't want to stick your finger in a bat's mouth because they do have strong teeth. They're not very long, but boy, if they clamp onto you, they really hurt. So one of the things is you wear those nice leather gloves, and those are just garden gloves, no goat's good garden gloves. But you can see that she has some nice sharp teeth there, so you don't want to stick your finger in there. So I know one of the big problems is rabies in bats. People are really scared to death.
Yeah.
In fact, we have people that spread tales like if you see a bat in the daytime, you're going to die of rabies, or all kinds of stuff comes out. So here's some real facts. Okay, only 0.5% of bats test positive for rabies.
Yeah.
So your chance of encountering a rabid bat is about 1 in 200 million. Okay, rabies in bats tends to be a non-aggressive form. So essentially what happens is they get weak. It's like us having a real bad case of the flu, and they get weak and they can't feed themselves, they can't fly, and of course then they fall to the ground, and then problems multiply. So your chances of, so they don't, it's not like Old Yeller with the foaming mouth or anything like that. It's very simple, and they're down, and but still, any bats, always handle them with gloves. There's only been 40 deaths in the last 50 years attributable to bat rabies. Okay, and 1/2 of the cases involve violent removals. Again, never use bare hands. My favorite story about violent removals is a guy killed a bat, beat it up, dunked it in his beer, drank the beer, and about a month later he died of rabies.
Good for him.
Yeah, so cleaned out the gene pool. But typically half of the cases are usually young males that have to show their physical prowess by beating the heck out of a bat, and typically either the bat bites them or blood gets ingested or something like that. It's really kind of dumb, but they do it, but that's all right, we get rid of them. The other half are usually cases where somebody has reported being bitten, but they don't go for treatment. So you can go for treatment, and the treatment works. And it's not shots in the stomach anymore, it's a shot in the arm.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
So here we are. There's Courtney again. We're delousing her. And so we use the same thing we use for dogs and cats, a little thing, some stuff called Revolution. And we just put a little drop on there, and that usually gets rid of their little critters that they carry, like mites or fleas or bugs. So they carry about 4 different things, which are really host-specific bugs, but they can get on people too. So some parasite control, okay, there we go. Bats have specific bugs, okay, so they have their own mites, their own lice, their own bugs, and their own, let's see, what's the other thing they got? They got ticks, I guess. And so we use 1 drop of that Revolution. If it's a bad infestation, what we do is we use some warm water on a cotton ball, and typically if you take that and wipe it over them, the lice and the mites are attracted to the warmth, and they'll get on the cotton ball, then you just get rid of it. You dunk it, okay? So very similar to the stuff that we use here with the birds. Then we inspect them, make sure there's no boo-boos or anything like that. And then we take them to the bat kitchen, where we feed them nice chewy mealworms. So this is Foxy. So anyway, so one of the things they do love is mealworms. And with the mealworms, you need if you're going to get them, you get a good, reliable source. I get them from Nature's Way. I find that the stuff that you get down at some of the pet stores is not very good quality. And what we do is we feed them on good food for a week. That clears out their gut, so that so even the ones that I give to Louie and to we use over here with the kestrels and stuff, those are all pre-fed, so that they have none of that garbage that's been fed. It might be in a pet store or whatever. We rotate the food from veggies to meal and back. You don't care about that other thing. And this is a bunch of the mealworms, and they're enjoying some veggies,
Huh.
and they're enjoying some meal. So they have a nice round diet, and so they get nice and plump on the veggies, and they're cleaned out. And the favorite one of the favorite things we use is what I call shredded carrots or julienne carrots, and the mealworms love it, and the bats like it because the mealworms taste sweet. You know, so yeah, bats have a sweet tooth. Okay, so other fruits you can do, bee moths. They're not good necessarily because they get caught in their teeth. Blended mealworms. We take the mealworms worm through a blender along with strained baby foods and vitamins and minerals. Sometimes we'll use strained baby food. They like banana, applesauce, sweet potato, veal, and then we have a special formula which is very similar to coyote milk, and that we use.
Huh.
And this is Susie and Preemie. They just finished having
Oh.
a little bit of a strained banana. And every day I have to clean up after my bats. And so that's Crackers, the rooster, and Pepper, the cockatiel over there. And so get a lot of supervision. You know. And this is what it looks like in the wintertime in our dining room. That used to be our dining room. And I'll tell you, folks, one of the greatest things about having bats in the dining room, we don't have to contend with Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner.
We have a question.
Sure.
Do they hang upside down when they eat?
Yes. Yeah, or they can get on their stomachs, but yeah, they hang upside down, or they so they can do either way. But yeah, they always should be pointed head down if you're feeding them. That way they won't aspirate, or on any of the loose food or things like that, and so it works real well. But they adapt very nicely. So some of them will actually sit up and grab worms and stuff like that. So anyways, this is our in December of 2007. We had 120 bats in here.
Wow.
And so pink housing for the girls, blue housing for the boys. And you notice there's a tag on every cage, so we know who's in what. And then we have aquariums. I'll go through all these different caging. So this is what it looks like. So about 120 bats, and yeah, it takes about 2 hours to do all this, cleaning and feeding and taking care of everybody. So the caging comes in different styles that we use. The basic, there's soft-sided caging, the small, medium, large dog carriers, butterfly cages, and reptariums. Isolation aquariums, when they come in first, we isolate them to make sure they don't have any diseases or anything. And so we have rubber sides with paper towels on the floor. We use paper towels because paper towels show the poop and the urine, so we have or any blood that might be around, so we can see what's happening. Sometimes we use heating pads, and we only put the heating pads on the sides or the top. You never put it on the floor, because you put it on the floor, they'll lay on the floor and basically they'll suffocate. So you have to put them up on the sides where they won't. And also we separate them by species and sex. Only once or twice have we made a mistake, and it's not very pleasant, because female big brown bats just don't like having males around. Once a year is enough, and so sort of like humans. I don't know. Yeah. So this is a basic isolation cage, and you can see here paper towels draped on the side. Got this is the drawer stuff that to keep your stuff from sliding around, and these are all Barrette clips here to hold the stuff in place, and then water with a sponge here and a feed cup there. And then if we have a mother with pups and that kind of thing, we have a larger cage, and we put a pouch in there so she can sleep in there with the kid, and we put a heating pad behind that. And this is next stage up, where we go colonize them. And in this case here, this is a medium-sized cage, which will hold about 8 bats. And again, I got a pouch here for them to sleep in, a hanger, pouch on the floor they can crawl into, some towels behind hide behind. And this is soft sides, so they can climb up on the sides and get away from each other or join each other. And this is a little larger, same type of thing. And this is a reptarium. This is used for some bats that are basically what you might call forest bats, like red bats and hoary bats, because they tend, in order to defecate, they need to flap their wings. And so, so when you're out there looking at bats, make sure what species is flying over you. So, anyways, so this cage has soft sides so that they won't injure their wings. Oh. So sometimes they get together in little groups and kind of snuggle in. Aww. Sometimes they go into pouches like this. I can tell what kind of weather we're going to have by the action of the bats. If you see them all snuggled into a pouch like this, usually it means that there's bad weather coming, or there's something that they don't like. So I can tell when the weather guy or I should call him the weather liar on TV tells me that it's going to snow and they're not in the pouch. Okay, the guy's wrong. Or if he's in the pouch and they say it's going to be clear weather. Yeah, so this is a bunch of the young ones, and they're all hams. You can see them smiling there, and so that's Grumpy down there, I think. And let's see, that was Baby. She likes to sleep upside down, so she was up there hanging on the top. So so sometimes they hang in hammocks like this. They get under little blankies. Sometimes they think they're hiding behind the curtain. Sometimes we get young ones, pups. These are young ones that just barely have any fur on. So we have an incubator for them where we keep the temperature at about 100 degrees, keep the moisture up, keep the humidity up so that they don't dry out, and they hang in there. So when we are feeding pups, we have a special milk formula. We use Zoologic 3340. Plus a little active yogurt that we put in there, to keep the gut going. So for the first 5 days, they have to be fed about every 3 hours. Wow. And that 3 a.m. feeding is a real killer, I'll tell you. Usually what I do is I feed them just before I go to bed. Then Ann wakes me up about 3 in the morning. Your turn. And then again at 6 in the morning. Wow. And so it works pretty good. Then about the 5th day, then you can start on 4 hours and start stretching it out a little bit. And then the 8th day, we start taking that blended mealworms I talked about before, and we take off the juice and add that to the milk. And so that gets them the flavor of the bugs and things like that, and gets them more used to what they should have. When they're fully furred, then we feed them blended, thinned down with formula, and then we slowly thicken it up. And then at 4 weeks, we start mealworms. So there's a real procedure to taking care of these guys, And so this is Mario, and here we are using an iShow applicator for as a nipple, and then we drop the milk onto that, and he can suck on that. So.
Wow.
And here he is a little bit later. Okay, he's grown up, got fur on him, but still drinking the milk. And then we take the blended mealworms, put them in syringes, and we get a bunch of them out, and we feed them up. And so it comes out of a syringe, and we give it to them like that. Then pretty soon, we're feeding them. They can just eat off the end of a spatula. And pretty soon, they're eating out of the bowl themselves. And then, of course, after they're finished eating, you got to clean up the mess, So you have to wash their faces and put them back to bed. Then we teach them how to eat mealworms out of a bowl, just like in nature,
Yeah.
Yeah, right. No.
And then this is Leslie, and she's eating the green thing on her ears. We tried a scheme of trying to mark the bats so we knew who they were. So this is that cattle crayon that they use for marking cattle, except for one thing. You cannot keep markings on a bat. They are very fastidious about keeping themselves clean. So this is gone within a day. So much for that scheme, And so there's just no ways. So basically, you have to go on their appearance or on their attitude toward you. And this is 4 bad boys back in '03. Curly, Mo, Shep, and Larry. And there were some brown bats. And guess what? We found out that Curly wasn't a boy.
Uh-oh.
So much for that, you know. So sometimes you got to look real close. And this is a colony that we got in from Plymouth, Indiana. It was about 18 bats that we got in to take care of. And this is Auburn. She came from Auburn, and this is one of the first ones that we had with a broken bone. She had a broken humerus, and we were able to apply a splint and hold it up. And this is when she escaped after she was able to fly. It took about two and a half weeks before it healed up, and then she was able to fly. And so that was one of our big success stories. Yeah. And, and this is one of her pups. This is Tug. Okay, at 5 days. Usually the mothers will let me hold their pups at about 5 days. By that time they're tired. It's just like humans, you know. Yeah, mom hands the baby off after about the first 4 or 5 days. Here, you take care of it. You know, you made it, you help it. Yeah. So anyways, this is Tug. You notice all bare. Okay, eyes are still closed. Ears are kind of floppy, that kind of thing. And this is her sibling Tit at 2 weeks, and you can see that nice and alert, has some fur on him, and so Tit and Tug. And this is later on. Tug injured her foot. We're not quite sure how she did it. So in order to get the worms, Tit and Mom would hold her in place while I fed them. So pretty cooperative, you know.
Wow.
And this is Radar. He's a long-eared bat, and this is one of the bats that we learned that you don't mix species, because he just did not like living with the big brown bats. He's always complaining about it. So anyways, you notice he's got these nice big long ears. Yeah. So, and this is Jeff. Okay, and Jeff here is a little pipistrel. Okay, so you see how small he is. Yeah. So.
Wow.
And Pip here got loose. And this is Cat. She came from Kendallville, and she was caught by a cat, and you can see the wounds here.
Yeah.
And just like with the birds, we can only save about 1 in 10 bats that come in that have been attacked by a cat, because cats come armed with these 10 claws, which contain all kinds of viruses and bacteria and stuff like that. You know where your cat goes to the bathroom, right? Digs a hole in that porta potty. So you got a cat?
I had a cat.
Yeah, right. So you know about that. So anyways, but one of the things, if you notice, she's kind of fat looking, and that's because under each wing she has a pup.
Oh.
And this is Kitty Cat at 5 days. Again, when the pups are born, okay, to give you an idea, they say it's like a normal-sized woman having a 20-pound baby. Okay, and she has 2 of them.
Oh, boy.
Okay. So they're a big load, you know. So typically I could tell if a mother's pregnant by picking her up, and I could just feel the difference in weight. You know, normally the bats come in about 0.5 to 0.6 ounces. When they're pregnant, to get up about 0.7, 0.8, you know, so they put on a bit of weight, you know.
How long does a bat pregnancy last?
It lasts about 6 weeks. It's a delayed gestation, so they get impregnated in the fall. They delay gestation. They store the sperm until the spring, and then when the weather's good, and there's enough food and stuff like that. And so what happens in our house is a lot of these guys, because the weather's very nice in that dining room, they start having their pups in March. And so I have to kind of keep an eye on that. But in the wild, they don't have their pups until about mid-June. So it's a while. And so anyways, when they're born, their eyes are closed and everything, but they do have their toenails and their thumb claws. So the pup is dropped into her tail, and then it crawls up under her wings and fastens onto her nipple, and then the baby holds on tight, and that's where it stays. But after 5 days, Mom has to go out and feed, and that's why after the 5th day, she says, "Here, you can hold it." You know, while I go out and get something to eat.
Oh, wow.
So this is Tomcat and Kitty Cat, and and this is Cat, of course. This is after about almost 2 weeks at this point, and they're nice and healthy. She's feeding them well, and I can tell they're nice and healthy because they have a layer of fat on here, so they have nice pink butts. So when I do programs with the kids, I always tell them, if you have a pink butt, you're healthy. Of course. And then this is after about 5 weeks, and so they're full grown and they're just about ready to fly. This is a hoary bat. His name is Heimlich Sloth, and he came into us and had a broken wing, and so he's a tree roosting bat. So we put in some bark. He has the soft sides because he has to fly around. So here we are doing some rehab stuff, stretching the wings out, trying to get him used to, flying, and gets a reward afterwards. And these are silver hair bats. This is Frick and Frack, and they're the first silver hair bats we had, and they like to fool you. And so here they are, they're playing games, getting the mealworms, fight, not really fighting, but fussing with each other, back and forth. And the unusual thing about this is I've been told that these guys like to be in isolation, but these guys got along just fine. So, and here we are, hanging out. This is Lily Munster. She came from Munster, Indiana, and she fell to the ground because she had these pups under her. Okay, so we fed her, and she fed her pups. In fact, it was funny because as soon as I went out and picked them up, just like that. So there are the pups there. And here's the family, Marilyn, Eddie, and Herman, the Munsters. Okay. Yeah, that's too old for Nicole over there. She doesn't remember the Munsters. No.
Oh, wow. You're missing out a lot.
So anyways, Eddie and Herman are males. They're reddish brown. Marilyn is a female. She's grayish. And that's because she's this grayish color so she can camouflage herself when she's hanging in trees with her pups. And here we are teaching them to eat mealworms. Eddie, Herman, and Marilyn. And this is where we release them out in the woods. We have a little cage that we set up. We put them in there, and then they can fly out from there and do what they please. This is a poor little guy. Gee whiz, I forgot his name. Oh, that's terrible. But anyways, he came in, he was covered with glue. So to get the glue off, we used Dawn. To get the Dawn off, we used canola oil. And to get the canola oil off, we used warm water. Or did we do it the other way around? No, it was canola oil, then Dawn, and then water. And after we were all done, we brushed them and cleaned them using a eyebrow brush, okay? Use that to, comb them. And then... Now, this is Dean, and Dean came from the Fort Wayne Zoo. He was in the Indonesian exhibit. They're butterflies. And if you look at Dean's mouth, he's missing a lot of teeth. Okay, so he's really an old bat. And we looked in there, and we could see that his had all this black stuff in there. So we went and used an interdental brush and brushed his teeth. Now, the first time we did that, we put a little dentifrice material on there. And he wasn't too sure, but every time after that, he would open his mouth, and we could get in there and scrub his teeth out. And we got his gums all back in shape, and he was able to eat whole worms. This is Savvy. She had a boo-boo on her head, so we're using a little bit of ointment to treat. So we use the same medicines for bats that we use for kids. So we use St. Joseph, aspirin, Neosporin, all the same stuff because it's safe. This is Sydney. She got caught by a cat, or maybe she landed on a nail, one of them, but it really tore up her wing. So Dr. Pat went down here, and we used some surgical glue to glue up that wing, and it partly worked. She got about half that wing re-healed. If the bat has something, a hole in its wing that's smaller than a nickel, usually it'll heal up within a few weeks. So so they can still fly with that. Dystra, she was an old female, and sort of like Indy and Indy and Peabody, babysitting. So she would be an aunt to some of the babies. So while moms were feeding or feeding themselves, she would babysit them. So she was a real sweetie. This is one of the most horrible things. People that use these glue traps. Oh, these things are horrible. And so this is one rescue I did. I was successful in getting one of the bats off here. The other one, unfortunately, just chewed itself, destroyed itself. Okay, this is what happened. It chewed its wings, chewed its through the wings and everything, and it succumbed. So glue traps, I hate them. Throw them away. If you have mice and stuff like that, use a snap trap. Okay, just use a snap trap and kill them immediately. But this glue trap thing, that's just horrible because the animal gets on there and starves to death. We don't even wish it on our worst prisoners. So it's kind of like we shouldn't do that to the bats. So this is the flight cage. It's about 30 feet long, 10 feet wide, 10 feet high. Has a nice soft floor. Has some towels around the outside. And this is what it looks like at night. Have a black light up there to attract insects. So insects fly around in there, and they have some lights on the floor. So just in case somebody falls and I have to go rescue them. And so this is, dang. Do you see that?
Yeah. Where'd he go?
Where'd he go? Yep. So anyways, that's one of our fun releases. Taking them out there, they smell the fresh air and gone. And that's the best part of our job is getting out there and releasing these bats back to the wild. This is Frick and Frack. And so took them out to release them. You notice Frack over there's fast asleep. They've eaten. Frick finally woke up. He flew around the backyard twice, and then he flew down right close to us. And I don't know what he said because all of a sudden Frack woke up, and then they both flew around the backyard. They flew over our heads, and then they flew north, just like they're supposed to. So they headed out. So they usually need a little bit of orientation in the yard, and then they just fly back where they come from. So I can tell, if a bat came from Fort Wayne or Leo or even from Chicago, they know which way to go.
Amazing.
It's all built right in there. I forget which one this is, but anyways, another one gone. Oh, this one here. Come on, go. You're supposed to go. Okay, well, anyways, this is a release of a red bat down there at Acres. And when the bats take off, they fly downhill to get some speed up, and then they, once they get the speed up, then they can start flying. We call red bats rocket bats because they just zoom right into the forest. So he'll be there just for a second and gone. This is Mario. You remember Mario?
Oh.
Yeah. There he is, first flight. So most of them, about 80% of them will take right off, when they're ready. Some of them, it takes a little while. So Mario flew out, came around, landed back on me. Then he went and he flew out. Twice he went around, landed on me. The third time he flew around about 5-6 times and landed on the side of the cage. He said, I'm done. Okay? I'm ready to go. You've done a good job. And so I went over and I picked up Mario, and there he was. He was purring like mad. When bats are happy or content, they purr. So you can feel them. They're like little furry vibrators. So they go.
That's amazing.
And they're just really amazing. So, and this is Lizzie, and this is her twin boys, Pete and Repeat. And gotta have a little fun, right? But anyways, Lizzie came to us at Thanksgiving, and she had her twins by Christmas. So something was really wrong. And so if we hadn't rescued her, they would have starved, wouldn't have made it. So anyway, so we had those two, so they had to stay with us all until spring. And when I had the bats, I have bat houses out in my barn. And so what I do is I take the moms and the pups and I put them up in these bat houses so they can join the colony that's out there. There's colonies that live up in the rafters. And there I am doing my job. So I haul them up there, put them in there, and hopefully don't fall off the ladder, Bob. So you have a bat in the house. Don't panic, okay? Usually bats in the house are first-year bats, okay? They're usually calmly hanging by a window or a door, and panicked people cause panicked bats. So if you go running around screaming and yelling and that kind of thing, it scares the hell out of the bats because they think there's something big chasing them. So they panic too. So if you just be calm, keep an eye on the bat, then typically, a couple things can be done. So they can be rescued, they can be released, all kinds of things can be done. So just don't panic because the bats don't have any intention of it hurting you. I mean, why would they go after something as big as us, So how do bats get in a house? Habitat destruction causes bats to find new homes, such as houses and buildings, and they just really love our houses because we have these nice attics where they can be stored. That sometimes they're moved from their attic roost. Sometimes there's construction. Sometimes people are up there like getting Christmas decorations and stuff down. They're moving the stuff that's in storage. It's too cold sometimes. If it starts dropping below 55 degrees or so, then it's starting to get too cold and they want to go someplace warm. And typically in a house, what they'll do is they'll hang out just above the entrance to the attic where there's nice warm air coming up, or other places like that. But if it gets too cold, then they might want to move downstairs and join you. They might be hungry. They didn't get enough food on board in order to hibernate, and they follow the airflow. So if you have air leaks in your house, they'll follow the airflow and right down into wherever the air is coming from. So how do they get in there? There's openings in the house construction. Find a lot of that, even in brand new houses. Yeah, I go to a lot of these nice, fancy $1 million houses, and there's big gaps and stuff. It looks nice, from the outside, from the curbside, but when you get inside, you can kind of see that there's problems. Sometimes they fly in an open door window. Sometimes you let the dog or cat out or in, and so the door's open and the bat's flying by, and in they go. Attached garages are one of their favorite things because they fly into the garage going after bugs and stuff, and then somebody closes the garage door, and so when they open that door going into the house, the bat follows you. Sometimes they come in with the firewood. So some of the bats like to they pursue insects and stuff on the ground, and sometimes they're in the firewood. Particularly those silver-haired bats, they like that. And sometimes they're carried in by pets. Look, Mom, look what I brought you. So this is just some of the entryways. Favorite place for me is up here in the gable vents. That's usually the place they get in. Here at the dormers where the two roofs meet, that's another favorite place. Then you have a lot of other odds and ends. Okay, go away. Come on, next slide. Okay. And you can make exclusion devices very simple. You just take some like window screen, just make a little patch over top of the hole, fasten it on 3 sides. That way the bats can go out, and so you don't need any fancy things or anything like that. The biggest thing is finding out where they're getting into the house, or and once you identify that, then you can make some stuff. You can use one place we just used gallon Ziploc bags and just taped them up, and that worked. Bats have site fidelity, so just because you get the bats out this year doesn't mean they won't come back next year. Okay, so and particularly nursery colonies, they'll always return. Males tend to stay near hunting areas, so in the fall, mom and daughters, they go off to the caves. The guys tend to stay around, and so because there's food there, and so they're the ones that you usually find in your attics in December. And most bats, like I said, go to hibernariums, so they go to the caves for the winter. During the daytime, sometimes they get caught away from the roost at sunrise. They may hang in the open in a favorite spot. I call those porch bats. So a lot of people have those. They hang out on people's porches, usually not too far from the outside light, and where the bugs congregate. And so they just hang there all day. Sometimes it gets cold suddenly, and they look for warm spots. So one of the first bats we picked up was on the side of the building there where Wild Birds Unlimited is down there in Northcrest. It was a nice warm spot there on the wall, and so the bat was hanging there, And we get them downtown, particularly the city county building and the county courthouse. For some reason, a lot of bats like to gather down there. Sometimes they're disturbed. Somebody rips the roof off a house where they're where they're roosting, and so they'll be disturbed. Many times they'll be migrating, particularly the migratory bats like the red bats and the hoary bats migrate with birds because they all depend on the same thing. They depend on that tailwind to push them. They're either going north or south, so a lot of times you'll find flocks of birds and bats actually flying together. Another thing is if there's a big insect hatch during the day, so if you have a bunch of termites or something like that that come up out of the ground, you'll get bats and swallows and nighthawks and stuff like that all flying around catching the bugs. Or the other thing is it just may be injured or sick, and so may need some help. Come on. What's going on? Okay, so get rid of a bat, open the doors or windows, just let them out. If they decide that they're going to hang in the house and they won't go out, just put a box or a Tupperware bowl or something like that over them, slide a piece of cardboard underneath, and just take them outside and just let them go. Huh. What's going on there?
Oh.
Huh. What's going on? I've lost this. Or if your husband cries like a little baby when he sees a bat, you can call me or you can call animal control. You know, you'd be surprised the number of men I see standing out on driveways waiting for help with the wife and kids are inside, you know, with the bat. No. So how do you attract bats? Keep your backyard natural, okay? Maybe not this natural, but natural. Don't use pesticides because you will kill their food source, plus also you poison the bats. And the problem with pesticides is they only kill the weak ones. They don't kill the strong ones. Bats don't care. They take the strong ones and the weak ones. And keep your plantings as natural as possible. You can install a pond or a pool, so this provides a place for them to get water. Turn on outside lights. Okay, turn on your outside lights, and that'll attract bats. It'll attract bugs, and of course that'll attract you. And here's a nice bat, grabbing a drink at a pond. You might have some ugly old trees like this. Don't be in a hurry to come down unless they really cause a threat to your house. You can truncate these, and that leaves a home for the animals. Or you can buy a bat house, put it up on the side of a building facing southeast, get the morning sunshine. Or you can, or east or even south, not north and not west. North, it's too cold. West is too hot. And so you can get a bat box like this. And these are simple to build, or you can buy one, hang it on a building or a pole 10 to 15 feet up. Paint with dark brown or latex paint, face southeast. And use a design like this, which has a landing deck down here, a ventilation slot along here, plastic climbing net here, and sealed at the top. And there's other designs you can get at batcon.org, or there's also a place called Scott's Bat House Plans, and so he has lots of plans. Wood butchers like me can even build bat houses. So, and I built like a dozen of them. Took me about half a day to cut the material, and another half a day to assemble them all. And so I had a dozen of them built in no time at all. So if I can do, and I still have all my fingers, bet anybody can do it. It's a good project for the family.
Could you say the name of that website again, please?
Well, there's Scott's Bat House Plans.
Thanks.
Okay. So some bat myths. Let's see. Bats are blind. I think we went over some of this stuff at the previous meeting.
Yes.
So bats are blind. No, they can see just as well as you and me. Bats fly in your hair only if you got cooties. Okay, but basically they don't get into your hair. They are not rodents. Okay, they're in the family with us. Bats are filthy. If you find a filthy bat, then you find a sick bat. Bats are very fastidious about keeping them. Bats suck your blood. No, as we know, the vampire bats only make a small cut and then lick the blood up. And all bats are rabid. No, less than 1 in 200 million. So, some benefits from the bats: they eat insects. They repel insects, they disperse seeds, they pollinate flowers, they produce enzymes that we can use, and they produce that anticoagulant that we're using to save stroke victims. So here's some of the bats that we've had over the years. I don't hear the music. Oh, I'm sorry. Do, 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 do. So Coca-Cola got named for. He came in a Coke box. RF came from the Indonesian rainforest at the zoo.
Oh.
Ford came from the Ford dealership. You know, find those little hats for those guys. That's really rough. Patty came to us on St. Patrick's Day. So they like skiing. John got picked up at the Motel 6 by police officers. That's a joke. There's Lolita. There's Spike from. And George came to us on President's Day. Okay. And on Washington Boulevard, as a matter of fact. So anyways, we had these bats, and they do a great job for us. And so I hit the music finally.
Oh, yeah.
So good night, Gonzo. Good night, Mon. Good night, Phoenix. Good night, Lizzie. Good night, Pete. Repeat. So good night, everybody. And remember, take good care of our bats, because our bats are taking good care of us. And let's see, take some advice from a bat. Okay? Trust in your senses. Spend time just hanging with your friends. Get a grip. Enjoy the nightlife. Sometimes you just gotta wing it, and unfortunately, guano happens. So I know you have a lot of questions, so you just. And next week we're going to attempt to talk about echolocation, because it just got to be a little bit too much for me.
Yeah.
Come on, what's going on here? It's not advancing. So in conclusion, wow. Okay. So anyway, so we have some upcoming events. Okay, we're going to be over in Mercer County in Salina there next week. Or is that the week after? Next week. Yep, next week. Also, we're going to be up at the Garrett Public Library the third week of June, or July rather. We're going to be at the Wells County 4-H Fair. Okay, that's going to be some fun down there. And then we're doing some summer reading programs up in LaGrange County. So we're going to hit 3 libraries in LaGrange County in one day.
Oh,
boy, we're going to be worn out on that day, you know. But they tell me there's good food to be eaten in Shipshewana. So we'll do all right with that. So we're going to be in LaGrange and Topeka and Shipshewana on the 24th. And let's see, we're up at Camp Little Turtle today, and it looks like it's a little wet. So I hope they're telling people about the ducks and shorebirds and stuff. We're going to be over there at Cedar Creek Child Care this coming month. Presbyterian Chapel Lakes, the ladies are having a dinner up there. So you guys might want to sign up for that. Oak Farm Montessori School. So we're going to be over there at Camp CEO Mullenhauer. Let's see, we're going to be there at Jake's Day at the Isaac Walton League, Little Praisers Preschool, Well Point Academy, and let's see, we're going to be over in Kosciuszko County for their day camp next week on the 10th, I think it is, or maybe it's the 8th. But anyways, we're going to be over there, and I've been told that we're going to be on right after the K9 people. So they're going to do a K9 demonstration, and then we're going to follow them. And I've told all my guys, just leave your drugs at home. So, okay. So remember, we do need fish, okay, for Jeff and Air and Poe. So they need fish. So you worm drowners, bring some more those fish in. They really, really enjoy them, don't you, Jeff? Jeff?
He's busy watching the rain.
Oh, okay. And again, we have opportunities for teachers. Again, you can, we're going to send out the survey. We just talked about that this morning. So there's going to be Survey Monkey? Is that what it's called? Something like that.
Something
anyway,
like that.
we're going to be sending that out. And so you're going to be seeing that pop up here shortly. And so also, if you want to help us out, we can give you some personal growth credits, if you come out and help us with organizing some of the stuff or helping us work, so you can be part of the team here. Don't forget the Raptor Adventures. A lot of people are coming out and enjoying those, bringing the family out. Sometimes it's a birthday surprise. Sometimes it's just a pleasant afternoon for folks to come out, look at the birds up close, and enjoy them. and it's all to themselves. They don't have to share it with 20 or 30 other people. It's just their little family enjoying the birds. And don't forget, we do programs for schools, home schools, community groups, scouts, churches, retirement homes. And we will do birthdays, weddings, Eagle Awards, block parties, and baby showers. And if you can think of any other celebration, it's too late. It's Cinco de Mayo. It's too late for that, okay? And we miss St. Patrick's Day, so, you know.
Fourth of July is coming up soon, but
What? Yeah, 4th of July, yeah.
That's real soon.
That's real soon, but, you know, so anyways, we're around, and we got more questions here?
Well, we do have a question here. That's not a question.
Okay.
That's something else, but that's a question. Somebody wants to know what kind of bats are around here. He's near Snyder High School, to be specific.
Okay. Most of the bats that live in town are big brown bats, okay? So they're going to be, for the most part, what you're going to find in town. Next popular one would be red bats. You're going to find those in the parks, particularly along the rivers. You'll find them over there in Franke Park. I know they hang out there. And I know they're right there along the Maumee, right there where North Anthony crosses the river. I know there's a whole bunch of them live in that area. And so those are going to be the two major populations. And then you have, big browns. Little browns are not too evident anymore because of the white nose syndrome problem. And so a lot of those are missing now. Long-eared bats, there's a few of those nesting out there at Eagle Marsh. And so they're studying those out there with their technical equipment, recording every night and checking to see who's around. Let's see what else we got. So hoary bats are around. There's a small colony of them along Stellhorn Avenue in some of those truncated trees. They like those, so there's some out that way. And so those are going to be the major ones. Silver hair bats are passage bats, so we see those in the spring and the fall normally. But they're like I told you last week, they're in isolation, that kind of thing. They tend to be loners, and so we don't see big populations of those. Pipistrels, again, another passage bat. They go up to Upper Peninsula, up into Canada, use the old mines and stuff like that. Then they come south and pass through here. So those are going to be the main bats that we get around here. And there are occasionally some others, but there's 7 or 8 species that show up here. So don't forget, spend all that money you got from the president, there at Amazon Smile. And so, that helps us out. And don't forget, you have to feed yourself, so go to Kroger's and participate in your community rewards program. And that gets us money. Like I said, I think we get about $400 per quarter, which is kind of nice to get, and it's been pretty reliable. But we could use, the more people we get in, the bigger the percentages that we get. So, and then so we're going to be back next week, and same time, same place. And I think next week we're going to talk about echolocation, and that one's going to be a lot of fun. So you'll really enjoy that. Okay, guys, you can go. Go. Okay. I'm sorry. You can put your bat capes away.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
So we're going to see you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye, everybody. Bye.